Why China would win a U.S. invasion. In the upcoming decade, if tensions between Washington and Beijing escalate, both powers would strive to assert dominance over the islands and archipelagos forming the first island chain of the South China Sea. The primary objective of the U.S. Navy would be to secure and maintain control over the strategic choke points. Given the current circumstances, it is unlikely that the PLA Navy could successfully challenge the U.S. Navy within the next 10 years. Therefore, instead of engaging in direct confrontations with American fleets, the PLA Navy would likely focus on occupying certain islands in the vicinity. Their strategy would involve fortifying these islands with air, land, and anti-ship missile systems, aiming to deter and repel the American fleet from the choke points they command. By doing so, China would establish reliable access routes to the world's oceans. This strategic rationale is precisely why China has made substantial investments in developing artificial islands in the South China Sea. At present, Beijing has fully militarized 3 out of its 7 artificial islands: Mischief Reef, Subaru Reef, and Fiery Cross. These islands function as unsinkable aircraft carriers, equipped with anti-ship and anti-aircraft missile systems, laser and jamming equipment, as well as fighter jets. Given that the PLA Navy cannot directly open the choke points in the South China Sea, it relies on the air and missile systems stationed on these artificial islands to enhance its firepower. In the East China Sea, the tactical situation differs slightly, but remains of utmost importance. The Yuki Islands and Taiwan divide the PLA Navy fleet into 2 sections, the Northern and Eastern fleets operating in a distinct command area from the Southern Fleet. In the event of a conflict, China's immediate objective would be to secure the Taiwan Strait, enabling the merging of its fleets and the reinforcement of necessary resources. Seizing control of Taiwan or incapacitating its armed forces would resolve China's divided naval forces. Furthermore, gaining control over Taiwan would enable China to breach the first island chain, securing guaranteed access to the world's oceans. In the event of an armed conflict between China and the United States, China would likely employ anti-ship, air, and land-based missile systems to prevent the U.S. Navy from accessing the choke points within the first island chain, including Taiwan. While this plan may seem feasible, China's missile systems are susceptible to interception by U.S. air and missile defenses. Consequently, China currently faces limitations in countering the United States, at least for the next decade. It is reasonable to assume that Beijing would refrain from initiating a conflict while being at a disadvantage. Looking ahead beyond 2030, the introduction of 5th-generation jets and hypersonic missiles could potentially change the dynamics of the situation. China possesses the J-20 Mighty Dragon, while the United States has the F-35 Lightning II. It is worth noting that the F-35 is considered a superior weapon, and American pilots generally receive more extensive training than their Chinese counterparts. Additionally, the United States benefits from a network of regional allies, including Japan, South Korea, Australia, Thailand, Taiwan, and the Philippines, among others. On the other hand, China is believed to be making significant advancements in hypersonic weaponry, while also rapidly enhancing and expanding its armed forces at a pace surpassing other nations. This includes the ongoing commissioning of aircraft carriers. If the current rate of development continues, it is anticipated that China will have transformed its military into a world-class fighting force, comparable to the United States by 2050. By then, both the PLA Navy and the U.S. Navy are projected to possess similar gross tonnage in ships and nearly equal numbers of aircraft carriers. While the likelihood of an American-Chinese war within the next decade seems improbable, the future appears uncertain and potentially volatile. Storm clouds may be gathering on the horizon. China's vast geographical expanse and diverse terrain present significant challenges to any invading force. With a landmass spanning over 9.6 million square kilometers, China offers ample opportunities for defense and guerrilla warfare tactics. Its rugged mountain ranges, expansive deserts, dense forests, and numerous rivers would hinder the U.S. military's ability to navigate and operate effectively. China's growing economic influence and interdependence with the global economy could provide a significant advantage in the event of a U.S. invasion. Given China's position as the world's second-largest economy, It possesses substantial financial resources to sustain a prolonged conflict. China could potentially leverage economic tools such as trade restrictions, currency manipulation, and resource control to weaken the U.S. war effort and undermine its global alliances.